Brighter Light, Darker Shadow by Backing into Infinity. Read by Oak Shadow 5. This episode contains chapter 16 and 17, so let's quickly start with chapter 16. A New Stain. Summary. Bakugo gets his crack at real villains. Finally. Stain confronts child murder. Let's go on patrol, Gran Torino says suddenly, looking down at Katsuki while he groaned on the floor. The explosive boy leapt up immediately and pumped his fist in the air at the words. "Fuck yes!" Katsuki cries. "Where are we going?" "Shinjuku, we will take a train. Your practice with One for All has paid off, and you need other experience than me to avoid developing bad habits with it." Katsuki looked around the train with a bored expression on his face, idly texting a scoop chat with Izuku and Shinzo. Gran Torino sat beside him, eyes closed as he relaxed. Outside the window, the buildings of Hosu were rapidly passing by, nightlights glittering peacefully as they refracted against the window. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming to an emergency stop. Sorry for the inconvenience." The peaceful scene was shattered as the train ground to a halt, Inomu crashing through the roof with a pro-hero following it a moment after. Katsuki leaps to his feet, palms sparking as he prepared for battle. "Boy, go help with rescue efforts. You have my permission to fight if you need to." Gran Torino zipped by him before he could make a move towards the Nomu, landing a smarting kick on its neck and preparing for battle. Katsuki blasts out of the hole in the roof with a shout and a string of swear words. As he flew through the air, he got a good look of the city around him. Buildings were burning, and the lights of sirens lit up the streets in flashes. Katsuki watched as a column of flame erupted a few blocks away, denoting either a fire-based hero or villain's location. He landed on the street, moving in the opposite direction towards some other disturbances. "Ida, where did you go?" Pro-hero Manuel ran by to Katsuki's left, calling out his classmate's name. Katsuki whipped his head around just in time to catch white armor vanishing into an alleyway. "Nah, fuck the shit," Katsuki growls, Ida's moodiness from the last week flashing through his mind alongside news bulletins and Izuku's vague concerns about the speedster. Katsuki breaks into a sprint towards the alleyway, his palms reigniting. "Getting trapped by your own hate and acting out of pure self-interest makes you the furthest thing from a hero." A menacing voice from the alleyway spurs the bond onwards. Katsuki skidded into the alley not a moment too soon, a well-aimed blast knocking the hero killer's blade aside and the follow-up driving him away from Ida's body. "What the fuck are you fucking doing, Four Eyes?" Katsuki screams, standing over him protectively as he takes in the tableau of the alleyway. Too many people and too tight a space to use bigger explosions. Fuck. "Get out of here, Bakugo!" Ida screams from the ground. "This isn't your fight. I need to be the one to kill Stain." "I know you talk a lot about fucking die this and fucking kill that, but murder isn't actually fucking heroic, you idiot!" "That's why he is a false hero. A fake who must be purged." Stain draws his second blade, preparing for combat. "And even if you did the right thing protecting him, if you stand in my way, I will purge you as well." "We're fucking children, bitch!" Katsuki feels the unfamiliar crackle of One for All flood through him, red sparks dancing across his skin as he tenses. "How can you justify killing us?" "Fake heroes at any age will never change. You will grow up to be just as bad as any other fake I've purged." "People can fucking change!" Katsuki screams, the emotions visceral as he charges towards the serial killer in a blaze of red lightning and ozone. The scent of burnt caramel fills his nostrils as he exchanges a flurry of blows with Stain, knocking his katana aside and slamming his fist into the man's gut. A knife from the other side nicks Katsuki across the shoulder, but between the electricity and explosion surrounding him, the blood on it scissors away as his wound cauterizes painfully. "Fuck!" Katsuki jumps backwards, trailing the wound for a moment. "You have some skill, child," Stain says as he stalks forward, readying his sword again. "Perhaps even enough to take me down. Give it everything you have as our ideals clash. If people can change, then prove it to me here and now by saving these fakes." The two clash again, raging around the alleyway in a storm of blades and orange light. Numerous nicks accumulate on Katsuki's body, but his superior speed and strength slowly win out over Stain. A hurried minute later, the serial killer is slumped against the wall, beaten, and Katsuki is panting in front of him. Sirens play in the background as an ambulance screeches up to the alleyway, Gran Torino and Manuel accompanying it. "Are you okay, kid?" Gran Torino says gruffly as he helps Katsuki limp towards the ambulance. Around them, a swarm of paramedics tend to Ida and Native. this is going to be one hell of a debut. Katsuki chuckles, relaxing against the pro-hero as his vision flutters. He feels like he is falling for a moment, and only realizes that the sensation is real a moment later when he is off the ground in the clutches of a winged Nobu, Hiro screaming at him from the ground helplessly. Katsuki hits the ground disoriented a second later, barely conscious as the hero killer monologues over top of him. I have carried out a crusade for a long time now. It was my quest to awaken people to the truth of hero society and to purge the fakes from it, trim the cancer from the body and make it whole again. Stan steps forwards, menace radiating off him in waves. I saw that only All Might himself would stop me, but today I've been defeated by this mere boy. He serves as living proof that there is yet hope for hero society, that people can change from their crass beginnings. Our ideals clashed, and I found mine waning, and I will never let you take a gem like this from society, Tomura Shigaraki. Stan seemed to stare intensely at whoever he was addressing for a moment, which Katsuki would later learn was a purple warpgate, twisting the knife in Nomu's skull deeper before letting out a satisfied grunt. When the heroes dared to approach a few seconds later, they found the two laying side by side, equally unconscious. That was chapter 16 of Brighter Light Darker Shadow, and now we'll continue on to chapter 17, In New Aftermath. Summary: Hoso is over and Stan is in custody, but how will the events of the night ripple outwards? However Izuku Midoriya expected to find out that his best friend had been in a brutal fight with a serial killer, well, social media was not it. Although he supposed he'd have to get used to it, limelight heroics and all, Kachan wouldn't be able to beat live news coverage, even if his texting habits weren't already atrocious. Still, it was first year. A bit early to start taking down members of the National Most Wanted list. The video in question was a short 30-second clip taken from what appeared to be a cell phone. The low-quality footage was shaky and obscured by the smoke in the air, but there was no mistaking hero killer Stan standing in the center of the video monologuing, nor Kachan's gauntlets staring in the corner of the video behind him. Already, the clip had been posted to most of the major news sites in Japan, and reblogged countless times. The uproar over the sensational video had only grown in the few hours between its posting and Izuku checking his phone after evening practice, as the first news outlets began to report the capture of Stan by a first-year hero trainee authorized by his mentor for combat. Katsuki Bakugo, known as Brightside Hero Dynamite, was the hero of Hosu, the outlets were saying. He had single-handedly downed a national threat. Speculations on his debut ranking after high school were already running rampant, despite the teen still having 3 years to go. Izuku lay back into his bed, swearing vengeance for the 37 missed calls, and smiled. Kachan had wasted no time fulfilling the promise from their youth, the one he had reaffirmed when he chose his hero name to echo All Might. He really was on his way to be the number one. Katsuki groaned as his eyes fluttered open, the beeping of machines rousing him from his sleep. He looked around his hospital room blurrily, and gingerly reached out and tapped the call buzzer. A few moments later, a nurse entered, along with Gran Torino and some people he didn't recognize dressed like police officers. How are you feeling, dear? The nurse said sweetly as she fiddled with some of the machines attached to him. Like I was run over by a fucking serial killer-shaped steamroller. The nurse hissed at his language, setting down the devices and pronouncing him stable. She left the room with a promise to come check on him in the morning once the doctor was back in, and a warning to his guests not to disturb his rest for long. Dynamite? The dog-faced man in the police uniform began, stepping forwards. As the chief of the Hosu police, I must thank you for your service. There was some talk of punishment or hushing this up at first, but it has been made abundantly clear to me that you acted well within the bounds of your internship. Damn right I did, Katsuki exclaimed. I put that fucker down like any real hero would. Yes. Additionally, the decision was taken out of our hands when a viral video was posted showing you in Stain. The news outlets are already hailing you as a hero. While the publicity dies down, and for your safety, it's been decided that you complete the rest of your internship at UA. I tried this some time ago, so I have a good relationship with the principal already, Gran Torino says, stepping forwards. So, no more patrol unfortunately, but I still work you so hard you crave death, you brat. Bring it on, geezer, Katsuki said excitedly, shuffling himself to sit up in the hospital bed. No patrol was a little disappointing, but understandable. And besides, nothing could dampen his enthusiasm after this news. He was a real hero now, and a famous one to boot. Now he could be a proper limelight hero, just like he was to Izuku, and the gesture the grenade made by choosing the moniker Dark Side Hero, Empty Umbra. Tenya clenched a fist in frustration as he stared at the wall of his room at home. Almost entirely uninjured, he had been released from the hospital after an hour. His internship was cancelled, and Aizawa-sensei had promised harsh punishments for him when he got back, pending the review of his position in the hero course. Pursuing vigilante justice was absolutely unacceptable for a hero trainee, and vowing murder was also a concerning sign, despite Bakugo dampening their reaction to it after the 100th time. His parents had been widely concerned and disapproving, but the worst part about returning home had been facing Tensei's disappointment in him. He would rather weather 1,000 lectures from his worried mother than see the look on his brother's face as he explained how worried he was for Tenya, that he would stoop so low, and how the ingenuine name wasn't about this. Tenya sighed and rolled into bed. Tomorrow was a new day, and once he got back to school, maybe he could get back on track. Besides, before they left, Bakugo had informed him that therapy was actually very productive, and not to worry. As uncharacteristic as it seemed for the abrasive teen, it was appreciated and eased some of Tenya's worries. Maybe things would turn out alright. Tomura Shigaraki stormed across the secluded Kamino bar in a fit of rage, running his hand along the bottles on the shelf and watching them crumble into dust behind him. "Who the fuck does he think he is?" he screams at the misty form of Kurogiri. "Stupid min-max assassin! Why did he denounce me like that? Just because he refused to join our party doesn't mean he gets to put us on blast in the national news." "I do not believe his intent was to put us on blast, Tomura," Kurogiri says calmly, wiping up the spilled drinks and dust left in his young charge's wake. "It is not clear that Stan even knew he was being recorded. That was merely a warning for us, an irrelevant warning since he was captured moments later." "How will I use him to recruit for my party now, though?" Tomura screams, dusting the trash can as well. "It was so public we can't even lie or take on his image. Everyone knows that Stan was firmly against the League. This is a disaster. And how dare a filthy rogue like him issue a warning to us? Does he know who I am?"
"Calm yourself, Tomura Shigaraki."
The TV in the bar crackled as Sensei's voice came from it.
"Hosu may have been a disaster for the Nomu and for recruitment, but we did identify the next holder of One for All. And now we can prepare a plan to eliminate him and his master once and for all. Listen closely. This is what I have you do."
Ooh, that last part of the last chapter. We get the villain's side and all for one. Also, we got the Stain fight, and Katsuki won by himself. And also, Bakugo's and Izuku's hero names, like the bright side hero Dynamite and the dark side hero Empty Umbra. It's so cool! But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed these 2 chapters, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!